Man, it really was all good just a week ago, wasn't it, man? Um, Boston Celtics not getting them calls no more, are they? Jason Tatum not getting those calls no more. Those calls that they was getting against the Nets are now going to Giannis and the Bucks. Um, Jason Tatum is allowed to be played like they were allowed to play the Brooklyn Nets. Um, Jason Tatum was a little frustrated. You know, everybody was playing a little bump and run defense on the Celtics, man. It doesn't look like they like it too much. It ain't fun when the Rabbits got the gun. Uh, you got the crash dummy Giannis Antetokounmpo, the two-time MVP, one-time champion. Probably gonna get another ring this year. Just running full speed at the rim, and if you draw contact, he's going to the line. He's getting a foul. Right, that's frustrating. He's just running full speed at the rim, out of control, just throwing stuff up, throwing his body into people, and he's going to the line. And on the other end, Jason Tatum is not getting that favorable whistle that he got the whole series against the Nets. It really was all good just a week ago, man. It really was. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. So this is what's gonna happen. So one thing I know for sure, that Giannis, the NBA is always going to have a superstar that is their cash cow. The NBA is always going to have a superstar that they're going to help along the way advance as far as possible. And I think Giannis is that superstar. It's clear now. You know, it used to be LeBron. And in order for you to beat LeBron, the Warriors had to grab KD and just make it impossible for LeBron to beat them. Like, you know, what the Warriors was able to put out there on the floor with KD, along with the good offense and good defense they play in that system, there was no way for the NBA to help LeBron beat those boys. There was no possible way. Without KD going to the Warriors, I think LeBron would have just ran through the league, and I mean, he probably would have got 6 or 7 rings. But the Warriors messed it up. KD messed it up. Now you got to look for another player to push out there on people, and Giannis is that guy. And Giannis is going to continue to get calls. His team is going to get calls. His team's going to get the benefit of the whistle. And I knew that even before the series started. As a matter of fact, I'll show you what I said. Man, it's too easy to predict. It's too easy to predict the NBA. This is me talking to one of my friends. I said, this was a couple of days, 3 days ago, actually. I told him, I said, Boston got a rude awakening coming to them soon, because if they think the NBA is going to allow them to assault Giannis the way they did KD, they're mistaken. They only let KD get assaulted like that just to humble the Nets a little bit, right? And it got to do with they're not going to reward a team like the Brooklyn Nets, who didn't put it all in all season, and then you got a star in Kyrie Irving who went against the grain, went against the NBA and the science, and decided not to get vaccinated and took a stance on that. You just can't have that representing your league. Like that's important to the business. It's really important to the business of the NBA, or who they have as the face of their league. And it just can't be KD or Kyrie. It can't be the Nets. So the player that's doing everything the right way, his entire team was vaccinated. They were all in all year. He doesn't load manage. He don't miss games. He didn't leave his small market team for a big market. You know, he's doing all the things that the NBA owners and the commissioner as a business move would like that trend to be more prevalent throughout the league. So you're going to reward that player. So yeah. So the whole point is, I knew Giannis was going to be getting the favorable whistle and not the Celtics. Now, whether it teeter-totters throughout the series, I don't think it's going to be lopsided the whole series in favor of the Bucks. You know, I think they will let the Celtics get a game or two. But if it comes down to it, and they're both playing good basketball, and the deciding factor on who's going to win is going to be based on how they call the game, I think that's going to favor the Bucks. 100%, 100%, man. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting how that game went, man. So as far as the X's and O's, if we just want to talk about that part of it and not, let's pretend like we don't know that the league is manipulating this series. Let's pretend like we don't see that. All right. So from a basketball standpoint, the difference on what the Bucks are doing and what the Nets was able to do against them is number one, they're not afraid to keep their bigs on the floor. Brook Lopez, they're gonna play him. He's gonna be a rebounder and a shot blocker down low. So they're not afraid to play Brook Lopez big minutes. What the Nets did, they would start Drummond. Drummond would start off good. He would get rebounds. He would score in the paint. He would deflect some passes, block some shots, and do all those great things. But the Brooklyn Nets was afraid to play Drummond big minutes down the stretch because every game what they did was start Drummond. Drummond will play well, and then when they came off the bench with Claxton will play pretty well too. And I think Nash liked the idea that Claxton could guard on the perimeter, and he could use that long wingspan of his to try to stay with Tatum a little bit or Brown or switch on the screens and stuff like that. And he was benching Drummond, not knowing that was a strength to have Drummond on the floor, right? So he was thinking about exposing Drummond on the defensive end, having to switch on one of those small guys, and it cost him. It cost them some physicality, it cost them some rim protection and all of that. So I think that's different for the Bucks. They're not afraid to keep Lopez out there, and you seen he blocked a lot of shots. I mean, he bothered a lot of shots, at the rim. The second thing is their guards, Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, even what's my man, number 24? I forgot the guy that tried to win that dunk contest, but that was up on those dudes, man. Oh, and Carter as well, who used to play for the Nets. Carter as well. They played very tight defense, and they got a little physical as well, and they bumped them. They got the whistle sometimes. Every now and then they got called for that foul, but for the most part, they was allowing them to play physical on the ball handlers on Smart and on Devin White. And then another thing I seen is when Giannis had the ball. So the difference between how they guarded KD and how they guarded Giannis, the way they guarded KD is they would push him when he was off the ball. So let's take KD trying to get the ball in the post, and when KD's down low on the block or whatever, the physicality on denying KD on the block, or even when he was coming from one side of the paint to the other one to get position for entry pass, he was getting push and hit and bump all the way across the paint to get to the block. So pretty much they was fighting him the whole while. Then once he got the ball, or once he got in position to get an entry pass, they was still denying him 3/4, right? Hands all over the place, but at the same time, hands on his waist too. So you denying the ball with one hand, the other hand on KD's waist. That was allowed, right? So they made it very physical and very tough for KD, even getting a position for a post and then the entry pass. Then once the pass came down there, that's when it got handsy. I can guard you with my hand. Even just a simple turnaround for him to turn and get a shot was very physical. And then when he got the shot, they all swiped at the ball. It didn't matter who was guarding him, Horford, Tatum, Brown, Dice, or Grant Williams. They all was swiping at the ball, and a lot of times they got a lot of contact, but they was letting that go. The reason why they work so well against KD is because he's a jump shooter, right? So once he gets all that fighting and physicality, and once he get the ball, he's not going to punish you by trying to run through your chest to get his shot off. That's the difference between Giannis. He wants to run through your chest to get it. So he's driving 100 miles per hour down the paint, and he's creating all the contact. He's going to run straight into your chest, and he's going to force the referee to call that foul. They're not going to call it against Giannis. I guarantee they're not going to call it against Giannis, right? So it's a different skill set for both players. The game plan, roughing up KD and then him being a jump shooter versus trying to rough. They didn't even really try to rough Giannis up that much. I mean, they still played tight defense and played physical basketball, but I didn't see any contact on Giannis before he got the ball, while he was off the ball. While he was off the ball, they guarded him regular. When he got the ball, the difference between Giannis and KD and the way Al Horford guarded Giannis and KD was Al Horford actually got all the way up on KD and will have his hand on his waist or in his stomach, right? He'll put it there and then take it off, you know what I'm saying, feeling, and then whenever KD took off the drive, he would hand check him for a second just to slow down his initial first step, and then he'll take his hand off. That was allowing that. Those are fouls, but that was allowing that. With Giannis, they backed off of him 3 feet. So they wasn't getting that person on Giannis hand checking him. They backed off of him because his strength is not jump shooting. So it's a different game plan, right? And even if they did jump on Giannis that close, his jump shot is not to the point where he still was going to try to shoot over you. He'll make that pass. So it's just a totally different game plan for people to think that the Boston Celtics defense is the same defense that Giannis faced today. It's not the same thing how they guarded KD. It's really not. I wish they would have tried to guard KD the way they guarded Giannis today. That would have been interesting. It would have been a different outcome. Morris, that Memphis game is pretty good. It's halftime though. Draymond Green just got kicked out of the game for a flagrant 2. Barnes turned MFs from grown men to similar baby. And did you see Jason Tatum like this the whole game? He was looking for that fight. Like he couldn't understand. Like, and look, this only happened throughout the whole series against the Nets. Jason Tatum only begged for calls once in that third quarter in game 2. And that third quarter in game 2. All right, so what happened was the first game, you was able to see what Boston game plan was. That was real physical. KD still got 27, and Kyrie still got 39, and they ended up with the lead with 15 seconds left, and they let a game-winning shot beat them at the rim, which was ridiculous, right? So even the game plan that they had game 1, it worked well, but like I said, KD still had almost 30, and Kyrie still had almost 40, and they almost won. So game 2, KD and them, they go up by 17, right? And then they let the comeback come. And in the middle of their comeback in the third quarter, Brooklyn decided, look, but we got to adjust. They letting us play physical. Let's get physical. And Brooklyn started getting really physical with Boston, like really physical. The defense was great, right? And as soon as the referee seen that the Brooklyn Nets was getting the best of them by getting physical, they start calling the game really tight and start calling a lot of ticky-tack fouls. As soon as that happened, I text my cousin and said, I see exactly what's about to happen. Now that they're calling the game tight, Boston and Brooklyn is going to stop playing physical. But when the fourth quarter hits, then the referees go swallow their whistle again, and Boston is going to be the aggressor, and they're gonna pull the game out. And that's exactly what happened. So from that point on, it was almost like confusing for Brooklyn. They didn't know whether they could get physical or not. It was just real confusing. And the whole while they was just allowing Boston to be as physical as possible. Very interesting, man. I'm more afraid of the Bucks or Sixers than the Celtics. As a Miami Heat fan, yeah, you should be because they got Giannis. Not only is Giannis great, he's got favor of the league. So and Middleton will be back by then. Middleton ain't there, so it's going to be a close 6 or 7 games. If you're talking about next round, I think Middleton will be there. Maybe not. I think he got the same MCL sprain that maybe they reported that Kawhi had last playoffs, but Kawhi's ended up not being an MCL sprain; it ended up being an ACL tear. So hopefully it's nothing like that. But from the reports, they're acting like he should be able to come back for the playoffs. So I don't know. I'm not worried about the Bucks anymore. More, I'm telling you, man. See, look, bro. If it was just pure basketball, I would be with you. I'm telling you, you facing something. You it's not pure basketball, man. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. You think it's just pure basketball. You think you go into an AAU tournament and there's no $1 billion industry surrounded around it. This is entertainment, man. What's popping is Giannis right now. It is. Just be honest. Is what's popping is Giannis. Boston is going to force 6 games out of them. Yeah, I agree. They get 6 games. What's up, Marvin? They get 6 games. I agree with that. Stamina and depth mean a lot. And the Bucks don't have that right now. The Bucks don't have stamina. Morris, I'm telling you, for any other series, right? We can talk about this Memphis Warrior series. We can talk about Miami Philly series. But for the series that is going to be heavily influenced by the whistle, you can't just talk X's and O's and think that that's what's going to pull out these games, man. You know, once you see that the whistle is heavily involved with outcomes of game, you know what I'm saying? Like as soon as I watch this Bucks game and I noticed that, oh man, they ain't calling nothing. You have to think in your head, which team does that favor? And then that tells you which team is supposed to win. Now, if they come out and you see the game called just like it's called in the regular season, but they're allowing a little bit more physicality. You get what I'm saying? Like playoff basketball is supposed to be a little bit more intense than regular season basketball, right? Because if you allow playoff basketball for 82 games in the regular season, people won't survive. People will get hurt too much. There's already people getting hurt now. If you allow, I mean, look at what happened with the Boston. Marcus Smart, it looked like we thought he dislocated his daggone shoulder. Luckily for him, it must have just been a stinger. Then he comes back and boom, he gets he get his knee bumped or something happened to his knee. Robert Williams almost got hurt twice. It looked like he tore his groin or something. He goes down. I mean, Marcus Smart went down 3 times. Robert Williams went down twice. I mean, it was just football out there. That's dangerous. So you can't call playoff basketball during the regular season, but in the playoffs, you know, playoffs basketball in this era is really like, okay, you might allow me a little bit more body contact on the dribble, right? You might allow me to be a little bit more physical with you, right? But other than that, like you can't allow a foul that's clear on a shot attempt to go uncalled. Like you have to call those. They're fouls. Just because it's playoffs don't mean you don't call that. I understand physicality on the dribble, physicality on the post, physicality of me moving from one place to the other. But on a shot attempt, if you foul me, you can't ignore that. It's a shot attempt. That means I'm shooting the ball, and what you doing is affecting my shot. You don't have to. You're not supposed to have to play through that, right? If it's body contact and I go up vertical and I get body contact, I understand not calling that. But if you hacking my hand and my arm and it's causing turnovers and causing airball jump shots, those need to be called. Now, that's what I expect to see in play. That's what I'm saying in every other series except round one. The Boston and Net series was the only series where I didn't know what a foul was. They wasn't calling anything which favored the Celtics, which was how I knew that the Celtics was going to win that one, and the Celtics was supposed to win according to the NBA. Now I'm watching this Bucks Celtics series, and they're allowing the same thing, and that favors the Bucks. So I already know what they and then you got to see how they officiate against the superstar on the favorite team. So on the team that was favored versus net Celtics was Celtics. The player that was favored was Tatum. The player that got the calls against him was KD, or didn't get any calls really was KD. So that lets you know, okay, all we got to do is call the game that favors Celtics, and then give their star player the benefit of the whistle, and give the opposing player not the benefit of the whistle. They're doing the total opposite for the Bucks and Celtics. They're calling it that favors the Bucks. Tatum is not getting those calls that he was getting before, but Giannis is. It's simple, very easy. It's very easy. That's exactly what's happening. And so far in this Warriors and Grizzly series, I don't see that. Right. And then I watch the Heat tomorrow to see how they officiate that Sixers game. But if they're gonna call it fair and cool and not biased, it'll be a good series to watch. But as long as they're doing that BS, I'm gonna call it out for sure. The rest wasn't calling anything for the Celtics today. It's get back for the calls against the Nets. Yeah, they weren't calling them for the Celtics. But it's not get back. It's just that the whole purpose of them not calling it for the Nets last series was because they wanted the Nets up out of there. But they wasn't doing it so the Celtics can go to the finals. They're just doing it. I mean, it didn't matter who was playing the Nets, they was go do that. You know what I mean? If they could, maybe if they was playing the Hawks, it would have been a little harder because the Hawks didn't have the ammo to capitalize on that. So maybe the Nets probably would have still got past the Hawks despite the whistle. But yeah, it's not meant for the Celtics to get to the finals. It's meant for the Bucks to get to the finals. It's definitely influenced the game, but it's been this way for a long time now. So not quite, Morris. Not like I said, not every game is heavily influenced by the whistle. Like I said, you can watch most games and see it's they're trying to be as fair as possible, right? They're not manipulating every game. But when you see the obvious manipulation, that's when that goes beyond. So I think what you're saying is there's no point in pointing out referee manipulation because it happens all the time, but it really doesn't happen all the time, Mo. Right? Not to the extreme. You get what I'm saying? Like regular referee error or human error happens all the time. I'm not talking about human error. I'm talking about the league. All right, so let me explain how officiating goes in the NBA. Just like the teams practice and I want to say practice, just like the teams have a game plan and they watch film and they go over the game plan and say, okay, this is how we're attacking this team next game. The refs do the same thing, right? They watch film. All right, so you have your officials that go on the court to officiate the game. Then you have a head guy who's the boss, who's probably some retired older guy that that was a made man as an official, but now he's retired. And what he does is he instructs those referees on how to call the game. They meet before the game. They probably watch film before that, right? Say for instance, the head official might give them a tape or a DVD and say, in this series, I want you to watch this matchup. For example, the way Roger Bell explained it, Roger Bell was a defender. He was a defensive guy. And sometimes he played pretty good defense on Kobe Bryant. So the league at one point had sent a tape to the officials of all Roger Bell, Kobe Bryant matchups. And that tape had all the times that Roger Bell fouled him, right? And they just watched it. And what you do is if I'm your boss and I give you a tape full of Roger Bell fouls on Kobe Bryant right before the series start of Phoenix and LA, what I'm instructing those referees to do is watch that matchup, and I'm showing you all the tricks that Roger Bell does to try to enhance how he guard Kobe Bryant. So now I'm giving you the answers to the test on what to call against Bell. And then I'm going to grade you after the game on how well you did that. If you go out there and don't follow my instruction as your boss and your head official, then I'm gonna give you a poor grade. If you get a poor grade, you don't become one of the referees that go to the next round and end up in the finals. The highest graded referee are the ones who ref the finals, and that's extra money, that's bonus money, that's making rank and everything. Like it's like that's their career. So whatever they're instructed to do, they're out there doing it on the court for a grade. So if I tell you I want the Nets Celtics game officiated this way, you have to go out there and execute that. Now, I say all that to say this. Why would a game plan change from series to series or from team to team on how you're going to call it? And sometimes game to game within a series. You might see a game called very physical game 1 and very loose game 2. My question is, why would the league and the head official be instructing the officials that's calling the game on how to call the game, whether it's loose or tight? Why would they be doing that? They're doing it because they know it's going to favor one team, and whatever it is they want for entertainment purposes is what they want. And who would want to see Roger Bell manhandle Kobe and get the best of him? I like seeing Kobe score, right? Well, most people like seeing Kobe score. Ain't nobody pay all their tickets to show up and see Kobe look like a average player. We showed up to see him look like a god almost, right? So, and you can see it, man. If the superstars that sell tickets start getting manhandled by a defender, that whistle gonna be real quick to set them straight. Get your hands off of them, hands off the merchandise. Let him get his thing. Let him get his stuff loose. It's almost like going to a wrestling match and I see the Undertaker fighting the Rock, and let's say the match lasts 5 minutes. The Undertaker do his special move on it, pin the Rock, and I didn't get a chance to see the Rock bottom. That's a waste of money, because you might have 50-50 Undertaker fans and the Rock fans. So that means if you let the Undertaker win and do his finishing move, but we didn't get to see the Rock bottom finishing move, it's a waste. That's why when you see when they orchestrate those matches, it goes a long while. Both players get momentum. Like Undertaker might be beating them up, the first half of the match. He might do a tombstone on him, and it might be over, and he get on the pin, and then the Rock could get up, and the next thing you know, Rock will get the momentum going, and Rock will do his thing, and he'll get a rock bottom on it. He'll try to pin him. The Undertaker get up, and then boom, I done seen the best of the Rock and the best of the Undertaker. Now go ahead and finish the match. Everybody's satisfied. I seen the rock bottom. I seen the tombstone. I seen both players at their best. It was good. It was entertaining. I seen all the moves. Right. That's how basketball games and football games are. When it's two really good teams, sometimes you just got to let both teams get the momentum a little bit. You know what I'm saying, and then make sure it's close toward the end, and that's the best case scenario. If I'm seeing a defensive team play the Chiefs, no one wants to see the Chiefs come out here and beat the best defensive team in the league by 50-0. We never got to see multiple sacks, interceptions, fumbles. We never got to see that defensive team shine at what they do good. So what usually happens is one team will have momentum early, the other one will get momentum late, and then toward the end, it's a close game, and then you can let them decide in the fourth quarter, right? You can start calling it fair in the fourth quarter. That's the best case scenario. Let both teams get the momentum. Let them both do their thing, and if you can get the game close in the fourth, as an official, you did an amazing job. A plus, A plus. That's how that works. The Heat and Bucks are the best entertainment wise because both. No, it's best because you're a Heat fan. It's best for both teams are well balanced. Other than Giannis being MVP caliber, the Heat has the best chance in the East. No one has talked about the Heat all year. If you are in the NBA front office, or let's say you the commissioner, or you someone who studied the analytics, they already know, and it's not based on what you think it's based on. They already know what's going to bring the best as far as entertainment. They already know, right? There's and Miami got fans. They're not no slouch, but who you selling? Who you selling to us? Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler? No. That's good basketball they playing out there in Miami. That's not always what they want to see, right? So I as long as their storyline gets through with Giannis being what he's about to be, the face of the league, as long as he gets to the finals, I think that's all that matters for them. As far as the West, it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Google the top selling jerseys in the NBA right now, and if Tyler Herro's in the top 5, then you might have a point. But if Tyler Herro's not in the top 5, then that kind of tells you about their top selling jerseys in the NBA 2022. Um, Kyrie Irving number 10, Ja Morant number 9, Luka number 8, Giannis number 7, Embiid number 6, Tatum number 5, Durant number 4, Steph number 3, James Harden number 2, LeBron number 1. Uh, that's a quick way to tell you who the fans love the most. I didn't see not one Heat player, right? Didn't see not one Heat player. So, like I said early on the post, if you wanna know who the NBA would want to make it to the finals, it's probably going to be Milwaukee and Dallas to get that Giannis and Luka. They want them both to be the face of the league. Now, they're not going to lose anything if the Warriors get there. Um, so that's a good choice. But I know for a fact they really want Dallas in there. They really want Giannis. I mean, they really want Luka to be as big as LeBron was. They really want that. I mean, shoot, man, the market that's gonna open up from Europe, bruh. So it's swearing for us to lose to Philly. Um, like I said, you gotta have the ammo to pull it off. Just because the league wants something, and just because they might call the game a certain way, don't mean the outcome is gonna follow. With Embiid being down the first 2 games, Miami might get both those games. If Miami get both those games, it's gonna be very hard for Philly to be able to pull it out. Their best bet is Harden going ham at least one of those games and splitting, because I think y'all the number 1 team, so y'all got home court advantage. So if y'all get both games, everything is great. That's what it's supposed to happen. But if y'all get both games, then Embiid comes back and they get both games in Philly, then I mean everything that was supposed to happen happened. Um, if Philly comes out there and they still 1 game from y'all in Miami, that's gonna make it tough, especially without Embiid. Then I would really be watching that series real close. Right now, I don't think they go really manipulate that series like that. I don't have the same feeling about Philly as I do about Dallas and Milwaukee. I know for a fact they want Milwaukee to advance. I know for a fact they want Luka to be the face of the league. But I mean, them going up against Phoenix is gonna be. It's gonna be. Put it this way: if Luka beat Phoenix, it's gonna be obvious of the whistle manipulation in that series. It's gonna be similar to what happened with KD in the Nets. If Luka beats the Suns. So the only team I think will make the finals that the NBA want to make the finals is the Bucks. I think they want Dallas to get there, but I don't think Dallas will get there. It's gonna be very hard for them to get past the Suns and then get past the Warriors if the Warriors beat the Grizzlies. Very hard. But shoot, let me get back and check this game out, man. I just want to come out here and clown about these Celtics, man. They still got an opportunity to steal a game in Milwaukee next game. So but it'd be interesting to see how they call that game and what that whistle looks like next game. If it looks like it did again today, I mean that game. I mean, I don't know if I liked it or not, man. It's just weird. It's just weird to see no calls on obvious fouls and ticky-tack fouls to be in the same game, sometimes in the same possession. Like, it's just weird. It's very weird to see it both. Like, I'm seeing ticky-tack fouls and no calls on obvious fouls. Like, that's very inconsistent, man. Like, and what's consistent about it is the no calls on the fouls appear to be timely, and the ticky-tack fouls appear to be timely as well. Whenever Giannis got the no calls, whenever Giannis went to the hole and got a lot of contact, but no call, it was basically when they had momentum. When Boston got momentum, that's when I seen Giannis get ticky-tack fouls. It was almost like they was trying to make sure Boston didn't come back and take the lead. You know, you get what I'm saying? While everything was under control, like, we'll call some stuff, or we'll let some stuff go on Giannis so it don't look obvious that we favoring him. You know, so when the Bucks was up by 10, Giannis would go to the hole and boom, 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 get contact, no call. Giannis would be like, what the heck? But when the lead got down to like 6 and Boston had the momentum, all Giannis had to do was just go to the hole and I mean, he was missing layups. Whistle. He on the free throw line. I was like, man. So you got to watch the timing of it. It's very subtle and sneaky how they do it. Some people try to watch it and be like, oh man, they shot 20 free throws, they shot 24 free throws. That's not a big difference. They try to do that, but you got to look at the timing of it. When the no calls come and when the ticky tack fouls come, you got to look at it. It's an art to it, but if you don't want to see it, you're not gonna see it. You just not, man. But yeah, man, I might jump back out after this Warriors game and see when we go finish watching this and see how they close that game out. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.